I wanted to actually sit down, but like if I sit down back there, it'll be too far away from the camera. So we'll suffer standing for a little bit. I'm really tired right now, and last night was a little wild. Probably don't know if I want to use that adjective, but
67, 68.
So today is day 69. I'm gonna put a little Kevin snippet to explain that joke.
I want to be wined and dined at 69.
I'm in Salinas Pueblo National Monument in somewhere in the middle of New Mexico. I didn't know this was here on my drive from Ruidoso to Albuquerque, where I'm heading to now. I said, like, let me see what's on the map, and just randomly popped up. So I didn't even know it was ruins, but apparently it's my first ruins for the trip. I'm sure I've been on ruins before, but not like, yeah. All right. I had a pretty bad start, so let's try and pick this up a little bit. There's something I want to say that I don't know if it'll come out right, and after I say it, I may not know if it even came out right either. So I wanted to highlight just the issue of information overload and just information access that we have as a society, and how that relates to our connectedness and collective success as a society. And there's like a few things that I've come across recently, like talks and videos about just like why we're like the problems we're facing as a society, and just like how we can stay kind of cohesive and collected as the world becomes messier and messier. The point I want to say specifically is kind of contrasting small town vibes versus big city vibes. And like being raised in New York, and even though I was raised on Long Island, which was more suburbia, there was always like a very packed nature of community, if you will. There's a lot of people condensed in a little space. And I think just to highlight the issue I'm trying to describe is there's a lot of individualism that exists across America. And even though we're very similar, we're also very different. And specifically when you think about small towns scattered across America in environments that would otherwise not be similar at all, like people have had to adapt to the environment that they're living in, right? And I was talking to someone last night about just like the community that exists in small towns, and I've thoroughly enjoyed almost all of the small towns I've been in so far. And the key point is that like everyone has a story, right? And in small towns, no matter how big of an achievement, how big of a accomplishment that someone makes, it's like there's a humbleness that like keeps the community together, in the sense of like they can always know that they can depend on each other in times of like need, and like power doesn't go to their heads. Versus in like a big city, right? There's so much happening. Everyone's kind of like competing in that rat race a lot harder, and they're all always around a lot more than like they need to be. And I feel like the amount of information, the amount of perspectives that kind of come together in the big city, there's positives and negatives to it. But the point of why I think we're so divided as a country is because the mentality that small towns have, meaning that like we're all kind of connected, we're all struggling the same struggle, we're all kind of like human, right? that gets lost in a big city. And what happens is that the big city kind of puts too many things at the forefront altogether, and that forces like these groups of like, we'll talk politically of like Democrats and Republicans, right? There's these ideologies that form around how to make all of these communities coexist and cohabitate a lot better. But I'm maybe trying to say that we don't need to solve the problem, and it's okay if people are more disconnected across America. And that's not like a complete thought. And I know I didn't say what I wanted to say, but I think the thing that I do in these videos is like, I give just enough context for like you guys as the viewers to kind of piece things together in a way that I just can't do it on this road trip specifically, because of so many things that are going on, and there's the being in it that like I can't really get out of it to make that like higher level analysis that you guys are more detached and like able to do it. So hopefully there's enough context in there that like someone gets something from that, but we'll just leave that thought there for now. I might revisit it after the road trip or just like at a later time. Just another point I guess to mention about small towns, like I was staying in Ruidoso just now, and it was like mountains galore in terms of like it felt very dangerous to like drive around there, me not being as skilled or like experienced in like that sort of environment. Like I love doing it, but also like I know that there's better practices of like driving and stuff that like need to be, you know, gained over time from experience driving in that environment. So there's sometimes where I was like super close to an edge. I'm like, that didn't really feel kosher, but you know, it was fine. But other than like the cliffs and like rock slides and shit like that, there's like forest fires, there's flooding, there's snow and hailstorms that like there's just like a really extreme weather environment in like mountains areas. And when I was leaving, I was like, there was like the mountains and right around Ruidoso, and like I'm sure Roswell also has mountains, but like once you got there, there's like a desert area type of thing, and it was just like very interesting to see the contrast of like mountains and trees and like life, and then there's still life in the desert, but like it's not as much, and just the flat plains. It's still a pretty high elevation. I think we're still at somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 feet. But yeah, getting back to the point about information, distractions, and energy, and I guess just how to use technology more effectively in our lives. I think as to continue on that train of thought of like big city versus small city vibes, small town vibes, I am kind of being converted into the sense of there isn't really a single paradigm of using technology that can apply in all cases. But sticking with like the values-based technology, it's like the value that you focus on to use the technology that you have is still the key factor. So it's like I was thinking about just like land across America. There's like miles and acres and miles of like land that's private to like whoever owns over here. But you know, there's this big struggle of this wealth gap and just like value disparity between the top 1% and pretty much everyone else. And I was thinking about like going back to that thing of like land has value, right? And a lot of times families lost generational wealth because they had to sell their land to move someplace else or to do something, right? And a lot of people might think like certain land's not super valuable, but at the same time, it's like there's a point there, and I lost it. So we'll come back to that. The thing I want to mention though, on my business card things, I put technology augments your value as like the quote, and I feel like that's the direct like value that I wanted to share with people, but I feel like a lot of people don't understand it, and the reason they don't understand it is because the first step is understanding your value, what you want, and then the second step is using technology to augment that value. But if you don't know what your value is or what value that you want to have, you can't just directly understand how technology augments that. So I feel like as I talk to more people now, I'll try to figure out what value people think they have, what value they think they want, and what value they actually have, and then based off of those three things, understand how technology is, or like help them understand how technology can be used in that in those areas. I think to go back to the thing I was trying to say about the land, though, the problem is that people have become accustomed to the society that we're living in, and the society that we're living in puts value on things that probably shouldn't be valued for the majority of people, and that skews people's perceptions on what they think they should pursue, what they think they should do with their lives. And my point for saying like the land in America, right? There's a bunch of land, and if we just got people to be in the land that help them access their value, or like augment or like connect to like the natural resource value with people's internal value, and then like it would be a lot easier to kind of get everyone on the same page and like not be fighting and shit. And there's more to that, but I can't really get there, so so yeah, that's just some interim thoughts as I'm driving through New Mexico. This is if we're counting Florida, right? Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico. That would be 8 states, which is not even 20% of America that I've been through so far. Anything else to say? It's like weird. So like I think what's like affecting my ability to do this talk right now is like yesterday was such a roller coaster. Like I've been generally tracking like a positive direction mostly, and that's not the words that I wanted to use to describe that, but but yesterday I was like, I had such a roller coaster, but like it wasn't like an emotional roller coaster. Well, I don't know what happened in the wind just now, but it wasn't like an emotional roller coaster. There is so much to do and see, and like I couldn't get traction to like choose something, and then I just decided to like drive, and then I got to Lincoln, which is like home to the whole Billy the Kid like history, which I still don't know super much about, but like alright, we're just gonna try and finish this real quick because the wind keeps blowing over my stand, and it's yeah a thing. But I know a little bit more about like the history now, and I met like a lot of cool people, and then it was like a whole series of events that happened after that I don't know really how I got into that flow, but like I appreciated that I did. And I don't know, like I'm definitely less stressed and anxious and just like crazy paranoid-ish about like what's happening and shit. But it's just really strange, like I'm finding myself and losing myself at the same time, and it's just how to explain it properly is is something that I'm working on. But I feel like just the usefulness of this video is now past its point of value, so I'm gonna just say I'll see you guys later, and Ikumiya. signing off.